Hi everyone, I'm Donovan, Head Director of Training and Breeding at K9CONTROL.
Just go get the dog.
Hi guys, I'm Donovan, Director of Training at K9CONTROL, and you're watching K9CONTROL TV. Today I'm with a couple clients of mine, Fabian and Catalina, and their dog BIGGIE right there, who is a Corso. Corso is was a few years ago, was a fairly rare breed dog in the United States, but in the tri-state area here, in particular in the New York area, it's exploding in popularity. I'm seeing them more and more and more, and I wanted to ask you guys, what was it? How did you find out about the Corso?
It was, I want to say over 10 years ago, actually. I heard about it from a friend at work, and he didn't own one, but he did show me on the website how the dog looked and how it grew up to look.
What kind of dogs did you have previous to the Corso? Were you generally into large dogs? Is that what you
I was
had?
always generally into large dogs. The only larger dog that I ever owned was a large dog was a Rottweiler, and it passed when it was 7 years old from liver cancer.
And there is certain similarities between the Rottweiler and the Corso, you know, like large breeds of dogs, predominantly bred for guarding purposes and home protection. Did you have that in mind when you got the dog, like for security for your home?
Absolutely. Both my wife and myself, we like the fact that it's a bigger dog. Sometimes she's home by herself. The protection of having a dog with a loud bark, and just the overall features that a dog that size brings. Anybody knocking at the door that is not welcome will be scared to enter a house with a dog that size. So it was about protection, but I am also accustomed to having large dogs around, so I'm not afraid of them, and I think they're just like any other dog.
What about this? What about this one? This giant one over here?
We actually found him
from the streets.
here outside of the house.
Stray?
Yeah.
He was outside of the house, and one of the neighbors actually let him go. And he was walking down the street, and I picked him up, and I kept him.
And how long do you have this guy?
2 years almost.
Almost 2 years.
And these two get along pretty good?
Perfect,
At first they didn't, but they started growing to love each other, and now they're inseparable.
And how old is BIGGIE now?
11 months.
11 months. Hey, BIGGIE, come here. Come here, boy. Come here. Come on, boy. Come on. There's BIGGIE.
Good boy.
Good boy. How long have you and I been getting together now working with BIGGIE? Just a few
I
weeks,
want to say
right?
about a couple sessions, about 4 or 5 sessions.
Yeah, I'd say about a month, right?
Yeah.
We've been working with BIGGIE. And talk about some of the issues that you were having why you called me.
Well, the main reason was the fact that he was destroying some of the furniture. He was having the behavior where if you were leaving him unattended, he would bite the banisters. He likes to chew. He likes to chew on anything that has to do with wood, furniture, or any item around the house, the shoes. And I wanted to have an obedient dog. And from what other friends and co-workers expressed about K9CONTROL and Dominic, they gave me some insight on trying to get him on board to train BIGGIE here, and it's been so far a really good experience.
Well, if it was explained to you correctly, either by me or by the veterinarian, if it is in fact Pano, it's generally a temporary. It's a form of, to keep it simple, in layman's terms, it's growing pains. And it basically has to do with the bones being soft, and very large breeds of dogs The three breeds of dogs predominantly that I've seen it in are various types of Mastiffs, which fits this category right here. The Rottweiler and the German Shepherd are the ones that I've seen it most common in. I guess there is a little bit of a genetic predisposition to it, but it's usually a passing phase the dogs go through somewhere between 6 and like 18 months, kind of like an adolescent. Growing pains that they go through, and I'm glad to see that Biggie's, progressing. Like, he's feeling significantly better than when I first met him.
Well, I did some research online, and I looked at the different, symptoms that he was coming across. And once we went to the veterinarian, they, concluded that it was pano. After I listened to Dominic told me, and they said, that would go away. Depends on younger breed on big breed dogs, but the younger they are, the more they're gonna get this disease, and the bones are growing faster than the actual weight of the dog, from what I understand. After treating him by not making him jump, run around a lot, by not over-exercising him, by keeping his food to a limited amount, he's been improving. And also we were giving him small breed kibble in the beginning.
Was there any anti-inflammatory medications or anything that the veterinarian prescribed or recommended to do, chondroitin or vitamins or anything like for joint health?
They did recommend some joint health medication. We purchased some on one of the dog websites, and we've been giving him some of that supplements, and so far it's been improving a lot since we originally met Dominic. It's a safe dog, and I have small kids come to my house, and I don't have any reason not to trust the dog around the kids. Now, always with supervision, but it's definitely a dog that I definitely would welcome in anybody's home. I think it's a great dog.
Catalina, you feel comfortable with Biggie in general, like your relationship with him?
Definitely. I was never into large breeds, but like my husband said, we did a lot of research, and he's a very loving dog, gets along well with kids, adults, just a very, very nice breed, beautiful dog, very loving.
It's good. I do also notice that, listen, absolutely no doubt about it, that the dog has a powerful deterrent factor, and that's one of the reasons that people get this style of dog, and also notice that when we go outside, part of the nature of owning one of these dogs that were bred for guarding purposes is that he is kind of naturally defensive. Probably you find that if you're walking him on a leash at night and somebody's creeping up or comes out of the shadows, that the dog reacts defensively to that and barks and stuff like that. And that's one of the main reasons why I feel that these dogs necessitate a formal obedience training, right, where you have control over the dog. It's a greater liability to own a guarding breed than it is to own a breed that has no potential at all to be aggressive. No, exactly. Listen, if this dog doesn't listen to you, it's a potential danger to him. If this dog doesn't listen to you, it's a potential danger to other people. So, you need to have a well-socialized, well-raised, and well-disciplined dog, in order to make them maximize the potential and have more of an asset than a liability. Sure. Because some people that do get some of these guardian breeds and then neglect to correctly raise them and train them end up having more of a liability than an asset.
They'll be in the pound.
Yeah, listen, that's a big part of what we do at K9 Control is we rescue dogs that are about to be discarded because the behavioral issues have become so out of control that it's no longer seems worth it to the people. And they're at as much as they love the dog, they're at their wit's end with the dog. And, it's basically me or the dog, and that's when we come in. Unfortunately, I wish in many cases that they would call us before the problems are generated, and but that's often not the case. They call us at the last minute as the last resort. When the habits are well formed, all the undesirable habits are well formed, and then we have to undo all the habits and re-educate both the dog and the family. But we're going to do some of the exercises now. We're going to see how you've been practicing with the dog, and thanks a lot, guys, for taking a minute to be on camera.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you so much.
Look, okay, good boy. Okay, good boy. Now, when we first started with him, sit, I had issues with him. Remember, we couldn't circle around. As I would go around behind him, he had like a trust issue with that. And this is the first time, actually, that we worked with him outside. But at this segment of this training, we're just teaching him to hold a position, regardless of whether I go to the left, to the right. I show him the food. Sit. I want him to not really, I don't want him to come and get this food, even if I wave it in front of him until I tell him to do so. What I'm doing right now is the dog is expected to hold the sit, and I'll pay him if he's doing it correctly. And then when I show him the food like this, he's not allowed to break sit. I pull it away and I repeat the command. He's not allowed to break it until I tell him. He has a release command. Sit, quiet. Okay, good boy. And that's his release command. Is okay, sit. The reason for this is to ensure that the dog understands not only the action of sitting down, but also to remain sitting until he's given a cue that tells him that the exercise is over. He's only at the beginning of his training, so it hasn't been proofed out yet, and he's still in the learning phase. But what I'll do is I'll give him a few, come on, Biggie, get up. Come on, Biggie, get up. Come on, get up. Okay, good boy. You see here that he's starting to be very specific to the command. He's a little slow to build trust with a stranger, you know what I mean? For the first couple of visits, I didn't feel like he really was comfortable with me yet. So I kind of went slow because of that. You can notice tonight, I noticed a big difference in his initial reaction to me. He treated Jorge as if he was a total stranger, but not me anymore. As we go slowly, we start to add natural distractions. Like taking out the garbage. You know, these are things, normal things you might do as we progress in these exercises. Come on, boy. Good boy, come here. Sit. 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 Come here. Sit. Sit. Boy. Okay, good boy. Slowly we desensitize him to things. You may find some things he's uncomfortable about. You know, he might be a little uncomfortable with, you know, typical things or loud motors or very hollow sounding things like plastic, like a garbage bag full of empty soda cans. You know, that kind of rattly thing. Sometimes dogs are a little touchy about those things. You may have to slowly desensitize him to those things to become more comfortable. Sit.
I compare it to approaches of other trainers and what I see on TV. Like there's a Discovery guy on TV that does a lot of training, and they can teach you how to train a dog to do certain things, but the psychology behind it, what I learned from Dominic, has been tremendous. I don't only know why I'm doing a certain thing. I'm learning the why and the pros and the cons and the actual process of why you do that certain task with a dog. So it becomes knowledgeable. Psychology, comes to me when it comes to training a dog now. It's not just do a certain task or grab the dog a certain way. It's the way that he teaches you, which is great, and overall, it's a great experience.
Well, I'll be honest with you. What I call that, Fabian, is a method trainer. A lot of trainers are stuck with one method or one system, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what they learned. They got a hand-me-down system. It's kind of like chopping wood or whatever, or building a house. It doesn't really matter. I believe the philosophy is the same in everything, right? Mm-hmm. When you know what the end result is, you can think outside the box and be creative. It's like being a carpenter, right? And telling me that a carpenter, I can't do any work at all. I'm stuck in the woods. There's wood here, but I don't have a nail gun. I don't know what to do. You're telling me, if you're a carpenter, you'll figure it out. They used to put barns together by drilling a hole and nailing in a peg, right? Mm-hmm. So a builder is a builder. If he doesn't have tools, he'll figure it out. He'll get a rock and bang in a stick. Right. He'll make it work. It might not be quite as polished as it would be with high-tech tools, but he's going to get the result because he knows how to build.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that I try to teach people and pass on to people. Once you know how to train a dog, it's really a form of applied psychology.
Exactly. That's what I meant to say, psychology. And that's how I feel about it now. It's more of trying to understand the dog, because like Dominic says, the dog's not going to understand me. So there's a lot of psychology behind it.
That's really what it is. You know, a lot of people have the fantasy that the dog's going to understand them. You got to give up that fantasy. It's a tough fantasy to give up, but you know, we're smarter than the dog. The dog can't understand us, but we have a shot at understanding the dog.
Try telling that to my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Asking about Pano, which is an inflammatory bone disease that but some large breed puppies can be affected with. We see it a lot in Great Danes and some of the Mastiff breeds, the English Mastiffs. Sometimes Newfoundland too. A lot of the big Mastiff breeds that have very dense bone that grow very quickly. And it's an inflammation in generally the long bones, but it can affect all four legs. Sometimes it will affect one leg at a time and kind of migrate through the other legs, or it will start and stop in one leg. We usually start to see it in puppies when they're between 3 and 5 months of age, and it's usually a very, very acute onset where the puppy will be fine 1 minute and then in terrible, obvious limping pain the next minute. And it's usually, times it can be self-resolving where we just try to wait it out and see if the dog will get better as the dog grows. There is some school of thought out there that it can be modified or intensified through diet, through certain supplementation or an overuse of certain vitamins and minerals. In severe cases when the dog is in really a lot of discomfort, we'll use non-steroidal anti-inflammatories for as short a period of time as we can. Panostitis will generally always resolve either with or without medical help, but if your dog is in obvious pain, then you should see a vet and should be treated for that.
Hi everybody, and thanks for watching K9 Control TV. I'd also like to say a word here about animal rescue. I'd like to thank the countless animal shelters, humane societies, and private citizens who have fostered and helped to adopt out the millions of animals that remain in our shelters today that have no permanent homes. And I'd like to take this moment also to encourage you to please consider adoption as an option for your new pet. And don't forget to subscribe to our show at youtube.com/K9Control TV show. Also, you can check us out at our website, K9ControlTV.com, or look us up on Facebook, K9 Control TV. Thanks a lot again for watching, and don't forget to adopt. Not much, yo! Productions.